Hello, good afternoon, good evening. Thursday evening, we're here again with you. It's myself, Yasini Martin Kapia, and Coach Query. We're on to have a conversation with you. A year later, I know there were a lot of promises made in the last 6 years about who was best, who could do this, who could do that. But to redirect, we're here tonight to revisit the promises made during the campaign and during the inauguration of the president, Boakai. Okay. Um, so we will be just going through the different promises made from the economy to human capital development to security to see which of those promises made were kept and if it wasn't kept, then what needs to happen, or if the president have the willpower, or does he have the intellectual ability to be able to deliver on those, or does he have the pedigree? So tonight, that's what we're going to be talking about. We are also asking you though to be a part of this platform tonight because we want to be interactive. We want to hear from you. Okay, we really do want to hear from you because we are a community where impact one impacts all. That said, I'm going to turn that over to Coach Courage to go ahead and do his intro.
Again, yeah, thank you for having me tonight and having this conversation. Um, I think this is another important conversation that needs to be had, and it is literally about the reminder. It's just about how we ought to be living at this time period. I want to point out the election of Donald Trump. It's a president who's a nativist. It's a president who's uh, I believe a social Darwinist, and I'll explain what I mean by all that. So we come to these people country, and we were lucky enough to learn things, and I think it's part of our responsibility to share what we've learned, and those things hopefully will help our country be a better country. I think that's what we ought to do. When I say this man's a nativist, he is going to put people he believes should be first. And by the look of things, he's going to put the people he thinks should be on top first. Those people are not us. If you look at his immigration policy, he looks at, and I don't know if I blame him or fault him for that, but I do know this. It just reminds me, and it should remind all of us that home matters, that we ought to always remember where we come from and make that place secure and safe enough where we can be and thrive for ourselves, even if it's for selfish reasons that we want to one day go back because it's home. That's one place that no one can deport us from. Um, our children, the people who are there, it's your responsibility to make your home for the people who are there. So to see that our country is being run by people who are not from there, the entire economy is being run by foreigners. One of his biggest gripe is America's sending out too much money out the country. It needs to stay within. Well, Liberia is sending out all of our money out of the country. Probably less than 5% of the money is sent within the country is been sent out. So we have to understand how people and nations organize their economies to benefit their people. So I'm glad I'm here for this conversation because I want to talk about what is Joseph Boycott doing to A, generate capital in our country, and B, to try to retain or keep the capital we already have in our country so that we can build the future that we want for our children, our loved ones back home, ourselves. If when we do decide to go back home, what is he doing that's going to, in the future, better our country for all of us, all citizens of Liberia? So I'm glad I'm here tonight to partake in this conversation with you guys.
Thank you, Peter. So if those of you that are out there, please go ahead, share. I know some of you are watching from a distance, don't want to be seen, but if you are, just log in briefly and share. So when you share, then other people can get the information. We want to build a nation. It requires information. It requires knowledge. It requires all of us coming to the table, like Peter just said, and give you a common example about people who will put their people first, who will put their nation first, who will make sure they prioritize those who they believe should be on top, right? So tonight we're going to start up with the first promise made. This I'm going to start. We're going to work our way backward from the inauguration. There will be no business as usual. There will be no green, or red, or blue Liberia. Inclusion. How far have we come with that period with inclusion? Where are we from the answer the first year? Are we building relationship? Is there reconciliation? Are we hiring people based on meritocracy? As they inclusive of? What's your thought?
Well, great question. I think it's a good place to start. So, I want to point out something that happened on Facebook, I think yesterday or today. I think it was yesterday.
Okay.
There was this girl from UP. She was making a scene at the UP headquarters. And what she was saying was that the people who helped bring this government to power, the people who helped elect this president were
Hmm.
being elected. And they needed to get jobs. And the job she was talking about is within the government. The government, they
Hmm.
need to be hired. They're not getting the benefits of what they were supposed to get. Um,
Right.
and and she said, when people speak about it, they get in trouble or they lose their job, the little job that they have. And it shouldn't be
Right.
like that. Okay. Forget the way she delivered it, but that is what she was saying. Here's what I want to remind people of. Nothing that is happening in Liberia is unique to Liberia. The country that everyone wants to have, even the lawmakers want to have visas to be able to live in and be immigrants to, went through the same thing, the great United States, the world's first democracy. What she was referring to is what they call the spoil system, which
Yep.
is when you, um, if you help me become elected, I
Hmm.
will use my ability and power in government to better your life. I will use the public funds that you give me charge of to better your life. That's pretty much what she was saying. She was saying more people from UP should be able to benefit. So when you talk about being inclusive, I'm saying no, it's not anywhere near it. Just the mindset that this is our government, so therefore we should. This is not your government. This is the Liberians people's government, and positions should be granted based on meritocracy, on merit, on the ability for the best people to do the jobs. For you to believe and that to be prevalent in Liberia that um, you this is your government, as if that the government is being run only for people who support a UP. No, those are just people who are granted the privilege to lead. It doesn't mean that this government is only for you. Um, just like if you are working in the bank, the money handed to you is not your money. It's the customer's money, and you're just there to manage it or do whatever, play your role at the bank. You don't get to take the money home at the end of the day. Um, so the mindset that we should grant jobs to people based on their political affiliation, it is so backwards. And the problem with that is it creates problem. In the United States, they used to do that. Okay, like I said, it was called the spoil system. A
Hmm.
president got assassinated because of that.
Yep.
His name was Garfield. I think it was James Garfield. He
James
got
Garfield.
assassinated, right?
Hmm.
He got assassinated because there was someone who believed that I did all this for you and you didn't, and my family is struggling and you didn't help me. Until the United States had to say we need to go to a meritocracy system, whereas people taking civil service exams and is based on how well you score and who's next available, not based on what political party you belong to. And I think that's how the law is supposed to be in Liberia. It is in Liberia too, but no one follows it. So when you talk about is he being inclusive, not only is he not being inclusive, The point I want to make is it is dangerous. It is dangerous when you start skirting the rules, and when you act like following the rules is not a big deal. That's a major problem. It causes instability in our country. So when you say instability, it talks about people who might want to invest. They're not going to invest in an unstable country. Okay, so to me, that's why that's very, very important for us to talk about, that not one person gets the benefit because you're part of some political party or you're part of some tribe. Isn't that why we fought the Civil War? We thought, go back. Isn't that why the reasons I was given for the coup in the 1980s is
That
only a
is
group of
correct.
people who were benefiting from this system, and only the true Whig people, and that was, at least that was the excuse, and the native people were not benefiting. Whenever you use some dogma like only this group because of this reason, whether it's tribal reasons, whether it's political party affiliated reasons, that's not how you run a country. Because when you run a country like that, chaos always ensues. There's always going to be problems. There's never going to be peace. Never going to be peace, because it's not objective, it's subjective, and the country belongs to everybody. So to me, that is very telling. It's also telling when people say, even, and not to defend him, Joseph Boakai been in government for 42 years. What did he do for Lofa? It shouldn't be about Lofa. It should be about what did he do for Liberia, period. And it's just all around, he's horrible. So there is no plan that he can come and talk to us about, that he's looking to implement, that's going to lift Liberians out of poverty. He simply don't know. And the only reason he's getting away with it is because I think a lot of our people believe that this is as good as it gets. And they are so wrong about that, because we're not the only country who's gone through this before. There are countries who were able to lift themselves up if our people would just listen. But I think it's the proximity of those people who are back home to who are trying to be in government, to us who are able to learn some of these things but are not close to our people. It makes them trust those con artists a little bit more. So we need to figure out ways to connect with those people so we can teach them that what's going on in Liberia doesn't have to be like that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Peter. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for those of you who have logged in. I see some of you here. I can see you on my phone, but I don't see you on this stream. I would appreciate it if you would here, Lasso, you would go ahead and share so other people can be involved. Those of you who are watching from a distance, that's okay. I will know you'll watch later. You don't want to be seen, that's fine. So, Peter, let me give, because I wanted to kind of pick it back on you from your perspective. And here it is. I particularly, this is the first part that we're talking about. I don't see if that promise were kept. I want to hear what he's going to say it on the day of the state of the nation. How, what he's going to say to us. There has not been inclusion. Okay, I think the country is more divided than it has been. Okay, than even it was unaware. All right, that you rightfully chronicle about why 1980 happened. Nepotism, uh, failure to what to answer to the masses in a timely manner, to rampant corruption. All right, all of those are like overly present today. All right, I want to use terms that people can just get on. I don't want to use any big term, right? So, to begin with, people who were in tenure position were taking off their position. When they put a resistance by going to court, and the court granted them the right to stay in the position and said, this is the rule, what happened? They came back and suspended them and replaced the people, because then they would not go to be confirmed. So here's the division right there. There's no inclusion. So right now we say there is a blue Liberia, there's a green Liberia, and there's a red Liberia, and then Wella in the middle. So on the issue of inclusion, I think we're very divided. Okay. I don't see where he tried to bring people together. I have not seen where he's called for reconciliation all called to say we're gonna lead based on meritocracy that you write for the poor. There has not been. Number one, majority of the people in the government are his people, either their family or the friends of family to begin with. And secondly, some of the people in the government, those were people who were in the last government with him, who out of, for instance, his nephew, Francis Newman, who, I mean, the video all out there for him that he was going to kill somebody if anybody stood in way of the president winning. He gave him a job. Even the woman that were talking yesterday, beat up a guy, drag him, the beat him until he ended up on a live in later because he was wearing a CDC shirt. Okay. So and so when we come to that particular point, this is my opinion, this is my observation, this is all my research that I've done, and based on everything besides my opinion, these are facts by looking at the composition of his government. Okay, so no, that he felt. If somebody were asking me what point to give him on the inclusion point, I would literally say, just to be human, I would say 1%. If 10 is the highest. So, Peter, I'm going to come back to you. Then we're going to go to the next day. If you were to rate him, what would you say? And if you're out there, guys, we're going to come back with these numbers, and you're going to tell us what your rating of the inclusion of Liberian, bringing Liberian together and stop the division. Peter.
Yeah, so I want to address something real quick. Yeah, so I think I said that the United States was the world's first modern democracy. The Greek democracy was a direct democracy. We are representative democracy.
We are representatives. Yeah, that is correct,
So,
Peter.
so yeah, just to clear that up, in case anyone's confused about that. But because someone just said something about it. Yeah, I would rate him very low. I don't know I don't know a lot of people who he has in his government, but I do know that the country is divided. So when we talk about being inclusive, that's not where we are. And again, I say this, and I'm not being facetious when I say this. I am disappointed in people who are disappointed in Mr. Boycott. I have not known anyone who has known this man, this old man, and his age here matters only because he's been doing this for a long time. That's why I keep referencing his age and how long he's been at this, right? He should be an expert now at some skill. I've never knew anyone to come back and say this man was a father figure or he was a uniter. He had an issue with every government he's worked in that haven't trusted him. All right, let's go back to those government. Doe had to fire him. Okay, Emmett Sawyer had to fire him. Ellen Johnson did not support him. The CPP betrayed them. He betrayed Henry Costa. Whether you like those people or not, a betrayer is a betrayer. A divisive person and a toxic person is a toxic person. Okay, so I didn't expect this man to be a uniter, and that's what we need to move forward. I didn't expect him to be a father. The person leading the country literally has to be a dad for the country. Literally have to look at the country and the people in the country as his children or their children, whether it's a woman or a man. These are my kids. What would you want? And when you say your kids, that they come from you. It is you. It's an extension of you. What would you want for yourself? And I don't see this man as a person who's inclusive. I don't see this man as a nurturer. I don't see this man as a person who cares. He's betrayed. It's part of the anger of Yaka Kaluba. And I feel for him, but he kind of created this dragon. Same thing with Henry Costa, right? You think that someone who's betrayed everybody else is going to be faithful to you.
To you? Yeah.
Not going to be faithful to you. It doesn't work like that. That's not how life works. And you lie to yourself because that's one thing you should pick up on. Someone who's dishonest with one person, that's a dishonest person. The first chance to get you, they're going to get you. So this man, I never expected Yasendi to be someone who's going to be a uniter. He never expressed any kind of um, plan. This is how I'm going to bring the country together. Because without unity, we're not going anywhere. We're easy. The divide and conquer by foreigners is going to continue. So no, I would rate him less than, I'll say 0% until you can show me one instant where things would have fell apart. But because of your statesmanship, or you being this father figure, or you being this great manager, things came back together. There's not one case of that I've heard of. One instant. If I'm wrong, someone correct me. So no, we literally elected a man who is very divisive. And again, this is not about him personally. It is about our children's life. It's about our future. It's about our country. He did not make that country. He's just a person serving that role. And what I'm saying is, when it comes to being inclusive, we picked the wrong person. So for your first point, how inclusive is he? He's not it. He's as bad as it comes in that role. If he was someone's father, if that was my father, I wouldn't want to go to that house. I would want to leave and go to my uncle's house or someone else's house. He's not somebody that the country needs in that position.
Okay, thank you so much. So we're gonna have Emmerich and Randy joining us tonight. We are looking critically, taking a critical look at the 1 year of Pape Boakai or President Boakai. Let us know what you think. If you're opposite what we are saying, that's fine. We're gonna post a number later. We want you to call in and tell us where you are. Just regard the 100%, 10%, 25%, 1%. We are talking about the 100% now. Then the 99% plus the 1%. That's all we are doing. So we're being inclusive. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is Peter. I know you got your rating. You say you're going to give him a 0. I gave 1. So at this point, he has 1. Okay. I wanted to be just, that way and do that. So let me go to the next line. Okay. So we talked about inclusion. There will be no separation between Liberians. There will be no red Liberian. There will be no blue. There will be no green. He was speaking in regards to the CDC, the UP, the LP, and all the other group. And we are saying, no, there's no unification. There has been no consideration. So we don't see that there. So we're going to come back after his speech to see what he says, what he has to say. So we are telling him where we are. Hopefully, people are listening. They will take that out and they will take it with him. So he comes back, okay, and tell us what he's going to do differently. Okay, 1 year is gone. No, they don't have 5 years, because somebody will say, oh, they have 5 years. No, they don't have 5 years. They have 4 years. Okay, to begin with, Peter, let me just put this in. Remember when CDC took over, we were saying, oh, CDC just started campaigning. They have not done anything. And the Europeans are saying, oh, the first year, most government don't do anything. That is not a true statement. The first year of any leadership is when they set the tune. Okay? That when they set the tune. Just like you getting married to a man, the first day you say hello to you, he slap you, and you taking him to your mom's house and your pa house and say when you get married, he's going to change. That is a lie. Okay? Every country, especially at a very tumultuous time like Liberia, where a lot of people were afraid, where people were hungry, where people were looking for hope, they were in search of hope, and you promised your very first 90 days would have set the tune. We didn't get that. Okay? So in respect to that, we did not get the first 90 days. So the second thing on our list is the inclusion. It ain't gel. It have not worked. So there is green Liberia, the blue Liberia, the red, the even gray Liberian. That's it is. So here we go. Number 2, let's talk about agriculture. Agriculture was what they addressed. That's the first name at the front. Okay. You know, they say leaders who talk their walk or who walk their talk. People tend to believe them. People tend to trust them. People tend to gravitate towards them in the agriculture sector. So I'm going to start, and Peter, you can come after me. Let me say this. Looking at the budget, all right? Your budget is actually, especially Liberia has a cash-based budget. where you collect the money and you spend it. So literally you're projecting, this is what I'm going to do. All right. And when we collect the money, this is how we are going to do it in the Liberia setting. Now, you start a budget, and the agriculture where you say you want your country to be self-sufficient, food security, you give it less than 2% of the budget. You give it $8 million. Okay. So and I'm going to go back a little bit. You said because of money in Liberia, how Liberians were struggling. The first 6 months of your leadership, no government official were going to travel. The current, the one that were coming in and the one that was leaving. We were going to make sure that we make the nation a priority. The moment you won the first, yeah, the IG need to be investigated. I agree too, but we're gonna stay on. Maybe it will be on the closing. Maybe we're on somebody's mind. They can call in with that. So that's good. The moment you got the second round, you took a plane trip out of the country. You were out of the country during the certification process. Remember when they were certificating them? They have to set a new date for him to come back. He was out of the country for almost 3 weeks. When Liberians were talking, you have the link, Brother Randy, you have the link. If you want me to send it again, I will send it. Okay. Let me send it back to you. It's right here in the chat room. If you want me to, let me send it. Okay. You came to the States, then went back after you were certificated, then came back here. Okay. Now, that particular one was not met. Those were things that you said you would do. We're talking about the money spent, all right? And that particular travel had over 40 people that came with him. And it cost millions, I'm told. You went back. But looking at the budget, it does not tell us, because the budget tells a story. The budget tells a nation story, the direction of the nation. It tells the people, even blind people, by just hearing it, it tells them this is where we are headed. These are our priorities on this line. Looking at this number, this is what important to us, coming all the way down by the number that you insert or that you allocate to that particular budget line. You tell us you're on your priority, the A in your arrest agenda for 5.3 million people. We're over 3.6 million living below the poverty line in abject poverty. 8 million is good for them. Okay. That for me, it did not meet the threshold. It didn't even try. It was not a priority. It was not on the line. It was not even initiated. Peter, that's where I'm going to start. Let me send this link to Brother Randy.
Yeah, again, so let's look at the numbers you were talking about. Again, I always want to bring this back to why we're here, why we're making the points we're making, why we're talking about this. This guy did not prioritize agriculture, even though on his platform, they're called planks in government, right? The planks on the agenda. Agriculture was number one. When he said AREST, when the woman was asking him, when he's trying to memorize what the acronym is supposed to do. Mm-hmm. A was agriculture was number one, right? And if that's your number one thing is agriculture, and you're spending less than 2% on it, it tells you you're a con man, right? It exposes Joseph Boakai without him knowing it. Let me tell you why. Okay, a couple of things. You know what a man cares about by what he spends his time and his money on.
His money, yeah.
Any man, if you want to know if he cares about whatever he cares about, just watch. There is nothing he can do about it but to show himself in that way. What does he spend his time doing? What does he spend his money on? Those are his priorities. 2%. If you're spending 2% of anything on anything, okay, is is a major problem. So when it comes to agriculture, it's an even bigger problem.
Yep.
Why there is an even bigger problem? Agriculture, first of all, what our country needs is money to be infused into the country. We need foreign capital. We don't need money. We have money going out. We need money
Yep.
coming in. We need money coming in. I call him a con man not because to insult him, even though I don't mind doing that, because he's hurting people's family, and I don't care what anyone feels about how anyone feels about that. He did not prepare for this job. He literally conned people into getting this job by the way he did it. He called people strange packages. We're not going
Mhm.
to take no chance. You talk about kids. You talk at people's heart. There are kids in the street selling. Look how people. Everything you said was a game. You didn't prepare for anything. You spend 2% on agriculture,
Yep.
guys. Agriculture is one of the ways that Liberia could get out of abject poverty, but not the way this man's doing it. He doesn't understand it. Number one, that's a very, 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 very competitive field. Here's why. It's so competitive that America and all of Europe, they get penalized for subsidizing their farmers because it's so competitive. So if you're going to do agriculture, even if you say we're going to feed ourselves, that's what most of them will say, right? We're going to feed ourselves. Okay, how's that going to bring money into the country? We need to start a business that generate money and bring capital into the country. All right. Number one. Number two, where are you going to send your goods once you make it? The Billy Boy, the we don't have apples, but anything we make, the plantains, anything you make, the Edos, where are you going to sell it? So you focus on agriculture. The reason I'm mentioning that is because I believe he didn't think hard about this. That's a con man, but he talked a really good game. Okay, there are a bunch of factors I have to. When a long time ago, someone was talking about America's in the amber box. So is England. The reason that these are categories or classifications of how much subsidies you give to your farmers. When you're in the amber box, that means you pay a penalty. America is going to protect its farmers. These Western countries are going to protect their farmers. Where's the market for the farming? Where's the creative thinking to get our farming products out there? There isn't. A person who wants to lead, a person who's vying to lead our country, should have thought deep and hard about this. Okay, should have been very creative, especially a man who says, I used to work in agriculture. We had this, we had that. You can't show none of it. Okay, the fact that he was able to manipulate and just lie to people and nobody really asked questions, and now we're suffering for it. Your agriculture is non-existent. What product are we? What products are we producing right now in agriculture? Where's the place that we're focusing on for farm? That's number one on your agenda, in your arrest agenda. It was agriculture. Tell me the first step we've taken towards that. And even if it's $13 million, what did our $13 million buy us? Okay, what's the return on $13 million so far? So that's for 1 year, $13 million, which is only 2%. So all the way around, this man's a con man. And it is high time we stop being polite about it. He's a con man. Show me what the $13 million went to on agriculture. Plus, it's only 2%. Plus, the field is extremely competitive. He didn't think about this deep enough. He just made it sound good. Oh, yeah, we're going to do a mechanized farming. Mechanized farming, first of all, mechanized farming just means you're going to have machines do farming. Don't we need our farmers working? So machines doing the work, and if you have robots doing the work, what's going to happen to our farmers? So no one really paid close attention to what this man was saying. Well, a lot of people did. I was one of those people calling him a con man from before. This is why this man doesn't take interviews from real journalists. When he comes out the country after spending months out doing his in Liberia, pay for his health care and his medical, he comes back and his handler tells journalists after this man being out for months or weeks at a time, You got 3 questions. 3 questions? You just spend $10 million of our money talking about only 3 questions. And nobody's calling this man out for it. This is not about Joseph Boycott. It's about it's about our country, it's about our children's future. So when people, I don't know why these people are not even ashamed of themselves when they say things like, oh, you guys got 1% of the vote. Okay, let's say he got 99% of the vote. Aren't you ashamed that you got conned and duped? You got tricked, that you give this man all the vote and he can't do the job? You shouldn't even be talking. You shouldn't show your face. You literally got conned. And you're proud of that. Like, yeah, I was part of the people who voted for a guy who cannot do the job. And you think that's hurting somebody else who's saying this man's a con man. How is that hurting us? The only thing is bothersome is that he's taking advantage of vulnerable people. Okay. So again, Yasani, going to the A in his agenda, complete failure. Show us where the first hole got dug for us to put Casal in it. Show us where that is. Show us how that $13 million, there was any return on how it helped our farmers, how it helped our market women, how it helped our children, how it helped our mothers, how anything was helped from that money. Plus 2%, if that's your first thing on your plank is agriculture, and you only spend 2% on it, you're a con man. You came to get money. You came to rescue yourself and your family. Let's call it like it is. Okay, you're not gonna sit there and we know you're lying, and we just sit there and accept it politely. That's a slave mentality. We're not slaves. Okay, so yeah, on the aid, Yasendi, on the agriculture is zero, complete zero.
Okay. So I would say the same also, because even with the agriculture, um, even if you're going to invest in and find a market where people are still able to live, then the budget should be more than that. And it should be, to develop a nation, you must be intentional. You must be very intentional. It can't be by luck. Okay, there's no lucky ticket there. It's not, this is not you take this, you win, you take this, you lose. You must be intentional. You must be willing to roll up your sleeves. Okay, there come Randy. Okay, roll up your sleeve. First, you need to have a plan. Roll up your sleeve to make sure that plan comes to fruition. All right. So Randy, we're on number 2 of the agenda for tonight.
Okay.
Now, saying that agriculture have not passed, also giving 0. But yeah, what I'm gonna look at next. The next I'm gonna look at is job creation. Okay, we have 90% on employment.
Yasendi, not to cut you off, did you want Randy to chime in on agriculture real quick before you go?
Yeah, I want him to, because he is also somebody who is into environmental issues and all of that. So impact. Yeah, Randy, let's go.
I mean, first of all, let me say hi to every one of you guys
Mhm.
and thank you for such a beautiful program. But I don't really know where to start when it comes to this government this year. Number one, to be honest with you, number one, there is something we call pass down note. All right. We saw Trump making fun with one of the media journalists while Biden left for him.
Mhm.
We saw Trump talking about the Dutch program. That means he was doing early preparation. Joseph Boakai sat down for 6 years and did absolutely nothing. He wasted one whole year without even coming with a draft report of his agenda. Technically, Mr. Boakai is only going to run his administration on 3 years. And here's how. One, he wasted entire year without drafting his arrest program, which contains 6 pillars. Now, in the first year, he decided to create a lot of distraction. Now, January of this year, he came out with a arrest agenda. Now, between January to the end of this year, they're going to start to figure out what actually works and what not work. And that would mean by next year, January 2026, 2 years will be gone, and Mr. Boakai will not have any achievable agenda because it's going to be try and error budgetary issue. This man has no connection around the world, not even an African leader visited me often. Nothing of such. So between now to 2026, the agenda that he presented this year will make it 1 year, right? In January of 2026. Now, when you get to 2027, it's going to be right around election season. He's going to start with political projects that means nothing going to be achieved. So when it comes to what Boakai has achieved, one, when he took over from WIA, I don't know, Cynthia, what percentage of the educational agenda Mr. Weah had expressed over 100 that Boakai would tell about. The Boakai said, look, when I came to power, Weah educational agenda took off from 10% to 20%, and I'm going to pick up from 20%. I don't know. I mean, I'm driven by data. Data gave me the reason how to strategize things to achieve what I need to achieve. And so in all other areas, I don't know. Boakai don't even know what is our national agriculture plan. Are we looking at industrial agriculture? Are we looking at maybe technology agriculture? I don't know these things. So how can I come and talk about this thing? Maybe we'll just be talking for him to get some idea from us for us. But there need to be a national agricultural development agenda. This man did not give up anything last year. Says, yeah, only this year he coming with arrest. So where are we going to have this conversation? Everything that he's working on, it is WIA. So he promoted WIA leftover program because remember, Ellen came to power with the Live Liberia. Later on, she came out with the PRS. All right. Boakai was part of that agenda. Why guy in Boakai head and say he don't want to use that? That's fine. Because he feel that he's a political scientist. He want to reinvent the wheel. Now, reinventing the wheel, he lost 1 year. And I don't know what kind of wheel is that. Whether it's still going one way. So, to be honest, what we saw during the WIA time as it relates to agriculture is the same thing here. So, the bottom line here is, what is Mr. Boakai going to tell the Liberian people when he meet the national legislature? And I know which way he's going to go, because when you go into an exit, they say two-way. Way to Speaker Kofa, way to Himen Kun. I don't know where you're going to go. So this is something that I had never seen in my life before, and I'm sure I'm not dreaming, but I don't see any new thing as it relates to agriculture that Mr. Boakai is doing. The same sustainable farming that we saw during the WIA administration is the same thing here. I'll give it back to you, sis. Yeah, I'm sorry to be very straightforward.
No, that is correct, because talk is cheap. I think I started a conversation with leaders who walk their talk. People tend to believe them. This man have never walked his talk. You don't even know what that is.
Nope.
Okay. You does not know what that is. So now let's go to 90% unemployment is under the same agricultural job, because he said we're gonna use agriculture to leapfrog the economy. Okay. So if that did not move, do we think the so I'm gonna leave that to Peter. Peter, what your thought? And then we'll go to Brother Randy. I will yes. Mm-hmm.
So again, speaking of reinventing the wheel, there's no issue that Liberia is going through right now that other people haven't already solved. None. Nothing about what our country is experiencing. This is where, just us coming to other people's country and learning that. Okay. Again, the world first modern democracy went through this. Okay. You can't fix unemployment unless you have a plan to create a middle class. The way you create a middle class is you have to make sure you create the environment for private sector jobs to flourish. It's like doing a farm. You got to get the machine. What the government needs to do is till the farm first, get the dirt up. Okay. Give the farmers a seed and give them a means to water them and let the farmers do the work. That's how governments are made. In this country, John Quincy Adams, he was one of the first person to help America in the 1820s to get America to flourishing because they were struggling for a long time. And he came up with that. The reason he came up with that is that was someone who, when he was younger, lived in Russia. Okay, he went to, and he was with the royalty in Russia. His father, John Adams, who was the president of the country, sent him there, and he saw how other people did it. When he came back, one of the things he pushed for was the government must assist the citizens in doing it, in helping create jobs. And the way you do it is You have to subsidize a lot of things. You have to give them loans. You have to make sure railroads are built. You have to build canals. You have to just make the environment better and easier. And then the citizens would do the work, and then you could tax the citizens. What has Boakai done to create jobs in the country, private sector jobs? He had that queen girl crying yesterday about government jobs. How many possible jobs can you have in government? And if all the jobs in government, who are you going to tax? Who are you going to tax? Right? The tax is just people chipping in and saying, thank you for creating this environment. There's nobody, okay, for you to tax. So when you look at what he's doing, he does not understand how a country is run. Okay, and then we have the money that's going to the country is being readmitted out the country. Remitted back out the country, because all the businesses, any substantial business, is being run by a foreigner. One of America's greatest fear, and the reason Trumpism is coming around, is because he's saying too much American money is going out, imbalancing trade with China. That's his thing. When a country doesn't get to recycle its money, that country is going to be broke. The man doesn't understand economics. And we elected a man who doesn't, an old man, we say he had experience. When are we going to stop saying this experiencing? When? Nothing he's doing makes sense. How is he creating private sector jobs? You got your partisans crying for government jobs. Not only that, today a report comes out that there are so many people on the payroll who are duplicating pay, right? They're paying one person 3 different positions, and they just now found that out. You don't know how to run the government. You don't know how to. You're not a corporate person. You don't know how to run a bureaucracy because you never ran one, and you climbed your way to the top. There are so many things that needs to be done. We need to create people with disposable incomes. We need Liberians owning those stores, the hardware stores. Liberians need to own the grocery stores. He needs to make sure that happens. You need to give out the loans. You need to give out the expert training for those people to be able to do that. If we don't have and I don't fault Trump on this, on his nativism, or his Americanization of America first policy. Everyone needs to be doing that. We're not doing that in Liberia. The Lebanese, the Chinese, the Indians, those are the people. Listen, those people are sending money back home to their family. And all of the $80 million that we sent to them, 800 million we sent to them, 800 million, that money is being remitted out the country. When you buy a car, when you buy a cacao, when you buy anything from the store, right? Lion's share of that money is being remitted back out the country. The first thing he should have come out and tell us, how are you going to stop the capital flight? What are we doing here? We adults, and I keep repeating this. We are the last generation of Liberians. I'm talking about the diaspora that is going to care about Liberia like this. You know why? Because our children are going to be Americans. Our children are going to be Australian. Our children are going to be British. They're not connected to Liberia like that. So when we retire and that money slow down, who's going to send 800 million back to Liberia? Especially with this new United States government saying we're going to pull back on how much aid we give to foreign countries. I'm saying we're going to be in dire need. And here's the thing. One of the things that aid goes to, Yasendi, in Liberia, do you know what's one of the biggest things that these people help with? The healthcare sector. So when they pull money out and it's taking money directly out the hospitals, the place that need it the most, the place that have the least right now, what is going to happen to our women and children when they get sick? When they get sick, we have a guy who does not know how to generate money. And we here playing politics and partisanship over it. When do you have a heart? Do you care that that's happening in your country? So yeah, Yasendi, he has no idea what he's doing. Okay, he cannot create jobs. How's he going to create jobs? What's the job creation plan? He literally have a middle class that he didn't know. Us. He has no idea how to energize or connect the aspirants to Liberia so we can do more. He just depends on money being remitted to our family members. It's a man that came to power. When I say power, had the ability to literally help the lives of people. That's what the power is. He had a power to change lives. That's what power is. And look what he's doing. And people over here talking about, oh, you guys are 1%. You got a 99% who cannot do the job. He has the ability and the power in his hand to change lives. And he's changed zero lives. Zero. Just his own life and the people, his close circle. So no, on job creation, I give him a 0, yes, indeed.
Brother Randy.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are discussing things that I can picture through what I call visual map into the listener out here that make no sense to the conversation as it relates to Liberia. One, this man campaigned. I mean, let people tell us why they voted for Joe Boakai. What did they really vote for Joe Boakai? Except for party identity. All right? Except for party identity. Guess what happened in the US? Most of the people who voted for the administration now, they said they were going to reduce the prices of chicken eggs. Today, it jumped from something. I'm just watching the 6 o'clock news.
$14
to $6 in other states. So what the people are doing is say, oh, you thought you're going to reduce the price. Yes, here. Now, when it comes to Liberia, says yeah, Liberia major source of income is rubber, iron ore. Those are depreciating things that other nations are trying to diversify now. Does Joseph Boakai understand that? Does he have the economists, all right, to look at the projection and say, here are things that we need? Absolutely zero. And like I often tell my audience in Liberia, I say, look, when you see a guy walking on the street at Joe Boakai and you see to the left side of his pocket, he got a way back pocket stuff with all the pen in it. Those were time people reality, right? And he still carrying all the kind of behavior. So as far as job creation go, Mr. Boakai again did not tell us what was the employment rate when we had took office. And says, yeah, before a plane take off, there had to be a landing and a launching pad. This man did not tell us where he met this country. So the question we are asking is so advanced. We should be telling him now, here are your mistakes when you came to power. We got no report. There were no gap analysis done as to what was left in between. So how can his ministry, after 1 year, the Ministry of Labor, that is of a job announcement, and how can the ministry announce the job? We heard one of his youth and sport ministers coming here and telling us, oh, they're coming out to create jobs.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. That particular video. Oh my
I just see you talk about that.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I don't know what was on that video. But what he failed to realize is government is supposed to create the avenue in the form of attracting investors, creating stability, and where the country can be able to predict that the country will move forward. And then on top of that, you invite businesses in the country. But that doesn't mean that government cannot hire, because government got to hire teachers, government got to hire fire and policemen. It's all part of the process of hiring. So if they don't understand these things and we're asking them about job creation, says, yeah, that man will call the show even, or you look at your show tomorrow and say, you see the same thing I'll tell you again. Yeah, the people why they're talking about we creating jobs. That's the typical Liberian way, because he feel that that's how the people can understand them. So as far as Mr. Boakai did not reach out to his minister to say, look, the first 3 months to 6 months, I want you guys to be able to bring your findings from each ministry to tell us exactly where we are, so that by the time we get to the third quarter into the early fourth quarter, we will be able to tell the Liberian people where we are in terms of job creation, our agriculture agenda, and XYZ. Nothing of a sort. So when we're having a conversation, it shouldn't be focused on Joe Boakai, because Joe Boakai is not giving us anything to go by. We have the talking points. We have the key performance indicators that make a government successful. But what are we marching it against? There's nothing he's giving us. Says, yeah, this man just came out this year with his arrest. So I think next year around the time that when we should be able to say, let's look at Joe Boakai. But I can guarantee that nothing will be on there. So as far as job creation goes, Joseph Boakai was only able to create job for people who are in his friends of circle. Like Coach said, one of his prime supporter, that girl was saying, oh, we are being left out. So that is an evidence that he did not even create job because his own people are complaining already. So, I mean, I hate to be very straightforward with this thing here, but this is a lesson for everyone. When you take on a new position, you have to be able to understand the current reality on the ground, the current reality in the area. And that's why you should able to call a minister there to say, here are things that we want to bring to the Liberian people attention. All right? Here is where the job currently is. Here is where I think we need to be. And I would like to see all the report and to give to the Liberian people. So today, as he prepared to give his Sona speak next Monday, so yeah, you could have that list on your hand right now. But you see, Mr. Boakai did not come to do anything sustainable. You see, says yeah, what Liberia need is redemption, not rescue. Rescue is just a temporary relief that does not sustain anything. But Boakai is a scammer. So he will do everything in a systemic way to scam people. When you look at redemption will acknowledge our mistake. Redemption will hold us accountable. Redemption will allow us to be responsible. So Mr. Boakai, with all the things I gave you, is not in a position to do anything. So as far as Joe Boakai rescue, arrest go is just temporary. But right now, there's no perfect roadmap that I can base the conversation on. All I can tell you is that for every question you asked so far, Joe Boakai has not established any basic, no benchmark for us to measure against his performance. That is why, because there's no way. How many jobs were created in Montserrat County? How many jobs were created in Magibi County? You see, the problem of our country, and I'm not trying to get out of the line here of the conversation, right? Most of our county are functionable disabled. We need to have functional counties. Says yeah, how can we create jobs? Mr. Boakai hasn't realized that the 14 counties at this moment are dysfunctional. What makes one county to be functional? Let's look at Montserrat County, right? In Montserrat County, you got the Babati Fire Brigade, you got the Babati Police, you got the struggling hospital, you got the so-called school system. Things work in our place, right? And that is why people living for the 14 county come to Monrovia. Now, if Mr. Boakai truly want to redefine his government, he should be telling us and identifying what the other counties need. What will make the county to be a functional county? If you look at it, the 14 counties inside Montserrat County, they are actually dysfunctional. They don't have their own local police. They don't have their own local fire department. They don't have their own educational system. They have no healthcare system. So the 14 counties are dysfunctional. Now, why is it dysfunctional? Because they want to have control. So they're not giving the counties the opportunity to be decentralized and to create this opportunity. The job you're talking about says yeah, across all the counties, if people are not like send money. I saw that video you sent me. Here is a guy who never believed that a Chinese woman will call a local police on him to have him evicted of his own property because we have a dysfunctional counties that are among the rest of the 14 counties that don't have their own responsibility. And that I think just continue to go otherwise. So the Chinese are over there. The other people from across the border are in other parts of our country doing sorts of money and taking away our resources. Like to Coach's point, how can we generate the taxes when people are just infiltrating into our border area, when the county are so dysfunctional, they had no municipal board, they had no local police, they had no superintendent in charge of the country. So with all those lack of, how do we create jobs? I'm not putting the blame on Boakai, but this is a man who say he have 42-year experience. Hey, I don't see where the 42-year experience coming from. We don't have 42-year experience in government, but we are able to discuss things that we think that the Liberian people will listen to us and say, yes, you are making sense here. Nothing the old man got. And, I don't want to go into my mood. This is your show, so I will reserve some of my emotion because I was about to say there's good for nothing, old man. But I was saving for my people. Forgive me,
I think
Cynthia.
you're muted. So
Thank you. Yeah, Peter, you wanted to add?
yeah, so
Okay, go ahead.
a bunch of stuff that Randy said, it goes back to having vision. And when a person has vision, all they do is talk about it. Again, let me go back to my area of expertise. I'm a coach. This is what I do for. That's how I feed my family, right? I'm an educator and a coach. When you take over as a head coach, when you take over a job, what you do is you work backwards. What's the ultimate goal?
Mhm.
The ultimate goal is to win a championship against other teams who have won before. Because most of you would take over teams that are bad, you have to rebuild. So you have to build it. Okay, so if I'm going to win a championship, take a step back from now. What does my team have to look like? Okay, we have to play really good defense. Okay, what do we need to do to play really defense? Well, we'll need guys who are bigger, stronger, faster. Okay, so how do we get guys to be bigger, stronger, faster? Well, we have to make sure that they're physically ready. Okay, so they got to do a lot of weight training. What else do you need? Okay, I need academically, I need them to be eligible and viable that they can play. So, what do we need for that? All right, so I need to make sure that they have these tutors and studies, and we have this time put aside. So we do that. What else do they need? So, what you do is you have a vision of what you want, and you work your way backwards. And if anyone wakes you up in the middle of the night because that's your vision. This is why the coaches on that level makes millions. The reason for that is it takes a while to develop that vision. Paul Kagame, what was his job before he became president? I don't know. I haven't researched it. I don't know.
He was a
But here's,
soldier.
yeah, but here's what I'm saying. And he was out of the country. Here's the point I'm trying to make, y'all. He thought about being a president. I bet you he visualized what he was going to do and how he's going to do it, how it's going to be different when he was out of the country. That's a man who immersed himself in the job, not just holding the job, saying, oh, I got 80% of people to vote for me. Yeah, because you're a con man. Let me go back to what Randy said when we do the same thing in sports. If you go on the basketball court and the guy have the wristband on and the headband on and the long socks,
Yeah.
do not put that FCC man in the game. You're going to lose.
Oops.
You're going to lose. He got all the equipment on. That's Joseph Boakai. 42-year experience. I went with his pressing. He talks the part, but he can't answer any question in any detail. Yeah, because you're a con man. Let me go back to what Randy said when we do the same thing in sports. If you go in the basketball, and I have the wristband on and the headband on and the long. Okay, so what happens is with I lost my thought, but yeah, you can't. He hasn't thought about the position. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have a vision. He doesn't have a vision. When I take over a team, I know exactly the color of socks my kids are going to wear to each game. That's vision. That's your thing. What is his thing? He lied and said he was this person who worked with agriculture. Where? How? How is that your expertise? Why are you not talking about it constant ad nauseum? Guys, every single one of us here talking, we're grown, middle-aged adults now. That's our home. And we cannot sit there and abdicate our responsibility. The man's a con man. And obviously a country that went through civil war where they murdered each other, being polite about this is not going to work. Joseph Boakai doesn't have it. And it's okay not to have it, but you conjure way to it. And for your people to keep talking about the percentage of people you were able to trick into believing that you were able to do the job, they should be ashamed of themselves. You tricked people. You can't take interviews for that reason. You cannot explain a job creation plan. You cannot explain an educational plan. What's your educational worldview? You can't do that. Tomorrow you're going to go to and read back to it and regurgitate something ChatGPT wrote. That's what you're going to do on Monday. And it's insulting. You're talking to other grown men with children and women with children, and their families are suffering. and you're insulting us by reading some garbage that you got from Google and Chat GPT to tell us where we're going, as if we don't know. You're spitting in our face and literally telling us it's raining, and we're supposed to say, oh yeah, it's raining outside when we see the sun shining. It's not okay. He didn't create no jobs. He doesn't have a vision, and we just need to say the truth. That's what we need to start at. Okay, let me close on this, Yasendi. Um, I want to talk about this is a very sophisticated world we're in right now. Resources are very scarce. Joseph Boyka is not sophisticated enough to navigate us, to represent us in that world, to get us to get what Liberia wants and our people want. He just doesn't have it. So thank you.
Mm.
Yeah, you're muted. Yeah, you're muted.
I say I'm gonna close out on here, then we're gonna come on the next topic. Let me first bring us to a point where Brother Randy, the labor minister, has said that we were at 90% unemployment, which I believe. Okay. We are 90% unemployment, but we spend 90%, over 90% of our budget on recurring expenditure, payroll, nothing for operation. So we're static. We're not, that means we're not going anywhere. No nation does that. I do have this video that Brother Randy was requesting. I like to play it, or I have no copyright to it, and I'm gonna speak to that where it stands. I have no copyright to this video. I think I learned this too. It's supposed to be a lawyer. I don't know where law school in Liberia did he go to. I'm sure there's some brilliant lawyers in Liberia. And besides, that is a lie that government is not supposed to create job. Government do both. It creates job. It also creates an enabling environment. The responsibility of the government is to develop the human capital. How do you do that? You educate your population, prepare them for the competition from before the war. About that. So you hire teachers or educators for that matter. You hire a firefighter in security to make sure the people are protected or in case of eventuality. You hire healthcare workers in a civilized society or in a modern society or a society that, what do you call it? We say health is wealth. You hired librarians to be able to teach your children. We call them ranger people who think we're gonna what, invest in tourism. You will need rangers. You will need security in the bushes. You will need tour guide. Okay, that's government will hire those people. Okay, you need post office. So you need post office workers. You need soldiers, defense for the nation. Okay, uh, you need research centers for you know development purposes and research and development. We call it what, R&D. Yes. So, and the government create an enabling environment that Peter and Brandon both has said for people to thrive. Like for instance, creating a 24-hour turnaround time for entrepreneurs who want to establish business instead of people going to bribe you, coming to your office before they can apply for grants or before they can apply for licenses. Okay. So when it comes to job creation, if you ask me, hopefully he can give us some data on Monday. For now, I will reserve replacing people and taking people out of tenure position to put your people there to act because they can't go through confirmation because the law forbid that. That is unethical. That's illegal. It undermines the laws that we said we will uphold. There won't be business as usual. So if you ask me, that is another zero for me because we have not changed. People are crying. People are doing the same thing. So our next topic would be what would be number three. Let me come back here, Peter. If you have that. Oh, the next topic under here was where am I? Where am I? Where am I? I'm sorry, I was still talking. So we've done one and two. And there's a lot. So we talk about war on drugs. So war on drugs. We started with um, a former fighter and another guy who both of them went knucklehead. So since I think we are 4 months, only 4 months into that, it was very tumultuous. They were at each other neck. So nothing has happened since then. Fatiga and what you need, Kuma. So I'm gonna start since Yama is in healthcare. Okay. The last I checked, people were telling me the numbers of drug users in Liberia are doubling. I particularly believe when a nation is hopeless, hopelessness is they say hopelessness is the enemy of justice. Because if you have nothing to wake up to, and I use the analogy, Peter, you went to the seal. I did too. I told the people in the place I asked, I said, close your eye and imagine you're going to bed tonight. Do you know what you're going to be doing tomorrow? What you're going to eat? Where you're going to go work? When you're going to get home? How your children will be fed? Most of those people could not answer that question. We can. We can. So since Jamai is into healthcare and we say health is wealth, this is the wellness of the nation because majority of the people on drugs in Liberia are children, young people, middle ages. Those are the people that we are sent, just like those who fought the war are now lawmakers and all of that. And this is not any particular person, not we are doing, not Boakai doing at this point, but they inherited it. It was their duty, their responsibility to find a solution because that was part of our problem that they ran the campaign on. So, Sis Yama, what's your thought on that? Where are we with this? Do you have any inkling on if things are working out? If there, have we built maybe some rehabilitation center? Have we brought in professionals that will be able to counsel these people? Because when you're on drug, it becomes a mental health issue. So you are the healthcare person and not the one. So take take your 3 4 minutes, and then we're gonna go. Then we're gonna go to Brother Randy, and then Peter, and then we will move on to the next topic.
Good evening, panelists. Good evening, my coach Q. Good evening, Jay Randy. I don't know you, but hopefully I can know you even better. And also, good evening to Mrs. Yasini Martin Bay, aka my Iron Lady, aka my own personal boss lady. I bring you greetings from Pataskala, Ohio. OH, Ohio. Hi. Coach Q, did we or did we not clear it out over the weekend?
Congratulations to you. You got beat Notre Dame right in the champion. So congratulations to you. I think Coach knows exactly what I'm
Thank
talking about.
you. I will accept it, even though I'm a Michigan girl. And the Lions,
You're
the
the winning
Lions
side.
crushed. I
And
was
the
so,
footballer there, come here. I see Peter just have a big old smile with him all here and there
I
looking
don't
at
think
football,
Pierre
you
was
know.
supporting Ohio State, but what I see is
I mean, I'm not an Ohio whatever either because I'm from Michigan. I love Michigan, but I would take the win by default because I live here.
okay.
Oh, anyways, on the most serious note, hi, good evening, and sorry for being late. War on drugs. I guess that's the topic we're on. Um, it's bad. The war on drugs and the effects of it is horribly. So first, I'm gonna speak like a non-nurse, just practical, because that's how I precept my new students, new nursing students. Forget. I always tell them, forget that you're a nurse. This is a scenario. I would give a scenario, then we'll come back to the war on drugs. Like one day, I was precepting a brand new nurse, and the doctor had ordered vancomycin. Vancomycin is an antibiotic. So the doctor ordered a lab for the peak, high, and the trough, the level, the lab, the drug level in the patient's blood. She went in the room and she started trying to poke the person. And the new nurse was from a race that is not our race. And she didn't have a lot of experience on a darker hue or skin color. So she came back to me and said, I've tried 3 times. to poke this guy, and I can't get the lab. And I said, what lab? She said, oh, I need to get the vancomycin, which is the antibiotic, peak levels. So I told her, you're not a nurse right now. What are you looking for again? She said, the vancomycin. I said, have you given it to him? No. So what are you going to go look for again? And she felt irritated. You know, the young kids didn't know everything. I said, forget it, you're a nurse right now. The doctor sent you to go look for something in one box, to go check the level of the thing. But you put the thing in the box here. Why are you going back to go check it? What do you think to go get from inside? And when I'm talking like that, trust me, I don't speak Siri. I speak because if they can say Radowski and understand everybody else under Dr. Radowski, they can say Mrs. Yakwazu and they will understand my accent. People point blank, I don't change my tone. I said, what did you find? You put something in there. No. Then what are you looking for? Why are you poking the man? So when I break my teaching like that to a non-nursing teaching, then they get it and they retain the story behind it. So I say this to say, I will speak as the ramification of all this drug war, but let me break it down. None of our nurse. So you don't get food to eat, right? You don't get place to live. Like my boss today just said, tomorrow, most of us know, we probably don't know exactly what we're going to eat because we have to decide because we got so much options. But we know pretty much what we're going to do tomorrow. We got our day planner. These people have none. They've been through a bad civil war, no rehabilitation. The level of destitute is so high. What are you going to do? Some of us, I feel stressed the other day, even though I'm talking about healthy living, but I really wanted to go back because my bad macros in my stomach were craving and sending bad signals to my brain. I fumbled and ate a cup of ice cream, right? Because I wanted something to numb the way I'm feeling was snowed in, and I wanted to eat ice cream. These people are so stressed. So they turn to drugs. How did they turn to the drugs? There's no FDA, there's no Food Drug Administration in worth a damn. Easy access. Look, way back when you smoke a weed in Liberia, my older brothers tell me that was real weed. Even in America, that was real weed. You don't dare go smoke a weed on OSU campus nowadays. It's laced with all kind of junk. So we don't have no FDA regulations. We got these drugs coming from neighboring countries, aka our alleged say Nigeria. That's what they say it's coming from. I'm not sure. But there's a billion people living over there looking for easy access. So no regulation, easy access, cheap material. And people still have to numb the pain. So the numb the pain is a crazy euphoric high. And when you have a crazy euphoric high, you got to chase the pain. You chase the high. So that's the best way. So you said you're not blaming it on Boakai? I'll blame it on every single mother tucker of them. The war economic crimes is not people that we have access to. I mean, we have proof that they did XYZ. When you're in a bad, deplorable leadership, you are killing. Every day you are killing the souls of our people. So the drugs on the war, ain't no war. The war over. You had damaged a whole generation. That's more crime there. Then he was calling Zoko and this and that. Let's go to the root cause of the problem. Who is the FDA manager? We want to name tomorrow. The next Thursday, Ms. Destiny, I'm giving you away my boss. But I, a constituent, I act according to action. I need to know the director of FDA. Let's bring him to the front of the congregation. I don't even want to get on the Fatiga brothers right now because the emotional trauma was bad. So I'll stop here for now. And then later on, at the next round on this war crimes, I would then go into the nursing aspect of how bad it had affected our community and our mental health. I'll stop here for now.
So we're gonna go to Peter, then Randy. Fajer, we will take calls in about 15 minutes. We want to get your input. I don't think we're gonna get because there's so much that is going on. So Yama, thank you so much for that depiction because you kind of walk us through, give a feel and a picture of that. Sometimes differentiated and training people learn differently. The picture is good. We're gonna get Coach Q to come in, and then we'll get Brother Randy from his left brain to come on and let us know where he's coming from. Peter.
Yeah. So again, Sis Yaman, thanks for that. So I want to a couple of points you made. Um, guys, the war is over. We are the ineptness of this man is absolutely slaughtering generations. People don't seem to understand that. When we are so comfortable with victim blaming, victim blaming. Okay, since Yama just talked about numbing the pain, it's worse than that. These are narcotics. The difference between the weed she's talking about and the narcotic is the addictive properties. Not only do these people live in despair, they're addicted. Who do you know get out of the addiction by just say no? It doesn't work like that. They're
Nope,
victims.
it doesn't work. Nope.
They're victims. Who's victimizing them? The people in charge. I'm going to say this again. By the way, I'm a Michigan State Spartan, so I don't know if you knew that. So I kind of like Michigan a little bit, just a little bit. All
Me
right.
too. Go blue.
Okay. No, go green. But the problem here is this, right? We let a guy go jack a purse in anywhere in Waterside, right? They will beat that person. They will torture him in a community. They will post it. One guy. We're not encouraging people to go steal, but we don't have that same energy towards the people who stealing the future of children. Joseph Boycott spent $20 million to grade a road. $20 million? And we don't have the same energy towards this guy. These kids are literally addicted to narcotics. They need rehab. That's the only way you get out of it. Where are the rehab centers? Who are the rehab expertise? They're spending $13 million to call in experts, so-called experts, for committee work. What are we talking? What are these experts coming in? What policy are they passing that need to pay so much money to bring experts in for committee work?
I'm trying to delete this. Peter, give me 1 second. Listen, you come under our stuff to be abusive, to be rude. Take that to your mother. Take that to your father. Some of you are so untrained. Take your nonsense to your mother. Maybe you ain't got food to eat, but we
Is that
do.
the Kwame guy?
Yes,
I hit a nerve.
you
And
did.
I'm celebrating my first
You did.
insult
You
on
did.
second thought.
You did. You did. You did.
It's a moment of celebration, Kwame. Take that. I just started. The tip of the iceberg, buddy.
But here's what I would encourage though. Kwame, you said we're talking nonsense. Here's the thing though. So there's a problem with fake people. Pick up the phone, the number is going to be put up, and then come and teach us something.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So don't hide behind a keyboard. Don't sit there and call people a name.
Mm-hmm.
You don't gotta do it face to face. Pick up the phone and show us your intelligence level. Or you just want to insult. Because any Zogo can do what you just did. Okay, so Kwame, if you really believe what you're saying, pick up the phone call. All right. So what I'm saying, these people are victims. Okay, that these tribalists, these sectionalists, these partyists protecting this man who's absolutely horrendous. He couldn't get a job here managing any company. I dare that man to send his resume in and see who hired him. I dare you. Or sit on a panel with experts. You say he knows about agriculture, right? Sit on some panel and talk about agriculture with experts. Let's see that happen. We are literally so quick to victim blame because we're a bully country. We will bully people who are weak. We'll beat this guy who's snatching purse. But the government officials who lie and use jargons and terms and procedures, words, and those are the people that you think they're smart because, and meanwhile, the result of their work is horrendous. Look at our country. Look at our country. Look at the zinc houses. Look around.
Peter, he's looking for attention. Redirect. Let's continue so we can go to Randy. He's looking for attention. We don't need to give him. We're done.
So let me close on this. And the number is going to be up in a little bit. Please, the number is going to be up. Please don't run away. Come and let's have this conversation.
Yes.
Or just I'll inbox you. We can do it too. Just you and I. Please don't run away. I will inbox you, Kwame. And I'll record it so we can play it later so people can hear this debate. So yes, we are picking on the wrong people. So when it comes to drugs, we're not putting our kids we're destroying. The war is over. We're destroying lives. We're destroying generations. The future of our country is being destroyed. So I don't know if we were supposed to give a grade on drugs. I'm going to give him another 0. So I think so far the numbers I've given him is all adding up to 0.
Okay, Brother Randy.
Yes, yeah. For me, like I said, everything should be based on statistics.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to give any relevant to anything that this government has done in the past 1 year. The fire is he did not give us any reason to believe what he was about to do. Leadership is about vision. And Coach spoke about
correct.
Yeah. Coach talked about Kigami. When Kigami took power, Kigami came up with a clear vision, one of unity. He focused on healthcare, investment, and education.
He did.
Yes. And then when it came to unity, he united the country. When it came to service delivery, all right, when it came to service delivery, he provided so many ways, like decentralizing the country. The issue of drugs. I listened to Mr. Boakai said that the children were taking kush. And when he became president, he was everything in his way possible. And to be fair to our country, we do have a struggling institution such as the drugs. I don't know, I think it's a drugs something, some kind of organization they call drugs. But say Yama is going to advance when you talk about the FDA. Because part of my responsibility is to work with the FDA. And work with the FDA also give you the link to work with the DEA. And because they both work together. And under the law are meant to tell us what we can do and what we cannot do.
We cannot do.
With the regulation tells you how it should be done. So when Sejama is asking the kind of important question, I got it. There are some people out there who are emotionally charged. They wouldn't react on their emotion rather than their own sense of understanding. So people like that, when they make the kind of comment, I don't even flash it. I don't understand because at the current rate, Sejama, our GPA, our intellectual quotient is 45. That to what level the war has treated us. Our golden generation, that level when the war came, we are struggling to reach that level where we were before the 1989 war came. So you're going to find all in different pocketing of location around the world. And when we speak, you get to understand. But in the post and contemporary period of our time, you will not find out of every 5 Liberians, you will probably find one that will be from the golden generation that will have an intellectual discussion. But the rest, people are emotionally charged. So I got it. I understand that. So coming back to the situation here, you asked a very valid question about where is the FDA? Because the FDA will be able to determine what are the controlled substances that we must regulate that cannot get into the hands or into the wrong hands? How can the FDA, along with the Ministry of Health, also regulate people who are importing drugs in the country? Do we send people to this country to see how the drugs coming in? The FDA, through the Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of Internal Affairs, they should be able to collaborate, because while we're using the Ministry of Internal Affairs, because they are non-English speaker in our country, we can relate to them about the impact of drugs by communicating through our different vernacular. So we need them on board with our collaboration. Why do we need the Ministry of Justice? Because they are the arm that ensure that illegal activities will not come into the country. Why do we need the Ministry of Health? Because they have to manage the population of people who are getting impacted. And then, of course, we have the Ministry of Gender that will also play a significant role. And that falls on our service delivery. So if I ask Joseph Boakai, you know, when it comes to service delivery, Joseph Boakai, you mentioned about drugs. That is an epidemic issue that is taking place in our country. What service delivery do we have? I did talk about dysfunctional counties. Everything runs in Monrovia. So the guy can come through the border and bring that drugs through the road and come in there because the county are dysfunctional. Everybody, the government. So we have a broken country that include a broken system, that include a broken government, and our county are dysfunctional. If you were to go to each county right now in Liberia, we don't have hospitals that are very effective. We don't have police departments. We don't have fire. We don't have healthcare system. All these things. So what we discuss here is so advanced beyond Boakai 42 years. And it's going to take you another 42 years. I don't know whether he has age on his side. And you know, Boakai is not living for today. Every day that comes, that 1 year for Boakai. So it's going to be very difficult, since we don't have the institution in place. We don't even have the subject matter expertise. People sit in the corner with different names to listen to us, but they come in disguise. But sometimes then their emotion comes
Fake
out.
page. I get 100 page. Fake page. One friend.
So I'll get back to you. Says so we don't have any functional institution to police these things until we start to put in place land ministry. Look at a system to aim at service delivery. All the question we're asking here is not in Liberia. Perhaps Ghana, Nigeria, we can talk about that. They can come to say, yeah, we do have these things, but for now in Liberia, we don't have. Yes.
So
But we have it on the books, though. They have it. They get, because you know now they mimic all on the books. They getting paid.
If one says they have been having the thing on the books for all these years. It's just like you driving on your highway. My highway to work, I know my SSR, but when I first started that job, I was often used to keep my eyes there. But it keep on time now, it just become part of me now. So
they're getting paid. Those are individuals in those positions getting paid, though.
There's no accountability.
Yeah,
so you see, when I talk about redemption is about holding yourself accountable. Redemption is about admitting to your mistake. These guys have not been able to admit to any mistake.
So we cannot move forward. We cannot move forward just until they move from there.
Idea of what? Rescue. Rescue is just a temporary relief. Says Yama, you in the medical field. There are people who go to the hospital with pain. You get them something to release the pain. But it's just rescuing the pain for that temporary period of time.
But you didn't even rescue the pain. So why the heck you got in the ambulance to go to the passing house for?
Yes.
So, the ambulance driver get in the car. We call you, you come. You knock the door. You do nothing. It's not like you going to put a patient on the gurney, to put it in the car, to check the vital sign. You there in the patient room, sitting in the drawer, doing all kind of nonsense.
So since Yama, you missed this, right? And what you guys are saying, and Randy, we got to go back to it. We think.
I'm sorry for being loud. I'm Liberian. I'm Loma.
Hold on, give me 1 second, Peter. I just hope you're prepared for the insult that is coming your way. Me, I'm used to it. I just want you to know that.
Don't give people attention.
Okay. So
don't worry about it.
Let's just keep talking.
Yeah. So the problem is not we have it or don't have it. The problem is we pretend to have it. Right? We pretend to have a fire service. Even though there's no water in the tank, that there's no air in the tires, we pretend. We say we have that. We pretend to have
it's not service either.
But we don't even know how to pretend. Stop pretending that. I don't even know what we are.
because the chief executive in our country, the chief visionary, is a head expert pretender. If there's any skill that man has, is he knows how to say words. He's been trying to mimic how the Kui people, how the Congo people talk, or he is mastered that. He's like a rapper. He been in his room mimicking. He's a karaoke. He's a Congo karaoke guy. He says the right word. People are suffering the way he says it, and he knows how to pretend. The whole country is based on pretense. The whole country. Look at this one saying, "Bring what company you brought back home." What nation you know was built like that by people bringing back companies home?
Yeah, I don't mean to run the show here, but I think we should focus on the topic.
Yeah, of course. Let's focus.
I'm flowing.
When it's
I'm flowing, yo.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
We don't understand people.
Yes.
The problem is
that's why they want us to be distracted. Let's.
I'm not going to be distracted. The problem is there are too many people who do not understand how the structure is, and they provide this shield for these incompetent people. And these people are loudmouth, right? They provide a shield to protect these people, and these people are hurting the lives of other people. And that's the issue. That's my issue with all of it, right? We have people who are not prepared. When you get on the plane, we talked about this last time, right? They said put your mask on first before you save a baby. Okay, we have desperate people who have not rescued themselves. They're not experts at their field. This is why we keep saying, well, we have this, we don't have that. There's nothing you say right now, Randy, that they will not show you a paperwork that they have. Nothing. They're going to say, we're doing that. We're trying that. Okay? So all the excuse making is the problem. Okay? And unless we're able to call these people out, and when you call them out, exactly what's going to happen. They're going to insult you.
Let me just engage you a little bit here. So whether they have it, according to says Yaman, they have it on file. What we can do is to validate what they think they have against a structured process. And you say you have it, and it's like trust, but let's verify. And so if I were to visit Liberia, you say we have it, because as an auditor, every time we go places, people always tell us we have it, but show us what you have. Let's engage each other.
Yeah,
because these things have been there for a long time. So if they say they have a coach, I would say yes, I trust, but let me verify. Because every time we look
Randy, so here's a problem I'm going to run into, right? Once you do that, because this is how con men work. They become confrontational.
Of course,
it becomes you just because you're from America, you think that's where it goes to, right?
No,
so you can't verify nothing.
Here's the thing, coach. If we want to get past this systemic and traditional behavior, we have to take it head on, not with ourselves, but we have to provide sources of evidence. All right. Like, for example, you go to Liberia, you see your minister bypassing the system. But when you come to the United States, why you stay on the line? They are trying to verify things, right? I'm just using that as a case study. So would you rather that somebody is better than you, or do you think that you can be better? And then we come to Ghana, we come to Rwanda, all right? We all started together. How come these people country are cleaner than our country? They even got more people than us. So I think resisting change is what our people are struggling with, but we have to find a way around it. And I think constant communication, more example will help. So I'm not going to be deterred by people resisting. My thing here is I understand that there is a change because there are things attached to that. Number one, if you look at our country, coach, many decisions are made based on political connection or travel line. Those are the two things that are driving us. And then in the middle, you have the religious component of that. So how do we get past this thing? Is to continue to educate our people, give more example. At the end of the day, some of them will call you and say, look, be brother, I will not insult you because the person say X, Y, and Z. They will be completely dissolved into their behavior. So I think we have to think about strategy, how we can get to this point. Because these lawmakers, they got their game plan. One, let's keep the people poor. Two, let's keep them out of job. So that way they will be depending on us. When the people come to say something, we're going to say, Coach just came here. He's going to be here for 2 weeks. Guess what? He's going to go back. And when Coach leave, they're going to kind of come in.
And they like that ego stroke.
Exactly. And you see, so those are some of the fundamental contributing factors that are really affecting us. So, I mean, it's a continual conversation. Yeah, it is, if you ask me, coach. But I mean, I'm sorry for engaging you on that because I know you're in fly, coach.
Okay, so I think we have a call, but great conversation. We want to stay within our timeline. We will talk about one more thing, then we'll talk about what's on your mind, and thereafter we're gonna table this the tourism portion of this on here. So as we
Since I'm guessing, can I interject? Let me just,
yeah,
can I just on the wall on, we're done with the wall on drugs topic?
we're about to close up on it, but let's take this call from the
Okay,
caller and see what they have to say. Then you can interject, and we'll go on that.
okay.
Okay.
All right.
Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from, please?
Um, my name is Fetty Moyu. I'm calling from Dover, Delaware.
Okay. Um, uh, Mayu, right? You said, okay. Mayu, go ahead. It's great having you. We want to hear from you. When you talk, give us your overall view of the first year of the president's promises that were made. Give us a grade. We got from 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest and 0 being the lowest. That means there's no point on all of the promises, like unification of the nation, bringing people together, no business as usual. There will be no green, blue, and red Liberia, if you want Liberia. Hiring based on meritocracy, making sure the rule of law is the order of the day, making sure tourism and the economy boom for all Liberians to be in war on drugs, um, investing it in your tourism sector and all of that. So we want to hear from you, what's on your mind, and then look at those things and let us know. You can choose one or two of those and let us know what your take on that. But go ahead.
Okay, thank you for giving me the opportunity.
You're very welcome.
I will rate the government maybe like five, maybe I can give them five,
Okay.
and I will pick one specific area.
Okay.
And we all know that rule of laws, I mean, nothing that is working. All the promises are made, I mean, nothing is really working. But the case says she did mention about the young people, and I think all of you have talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back a little bit. After the war, I was much smaller, but I can still remember there were programs into place for the native people children that were turned into ex-combatants. Now that we have a program for the children, that forward, when Mr. Ellington said he took office, I felt the program was abandoned. That program is supposed to change the young people that were given guns and drugs to put them back on track. But that program is abandoned. Fast forward, today, from native people children to ex-combatants today, they are Zokos. And the current administration is not doing much, to improve the life of the children. And we see today that the streets of Monrovia is very in a bad situation, and they are in very dangerous because the young people are now working, they don't have no skills. Since it was to take a company to Liberia today, I bet you have to employ foreigners because our brothers and sisters in Liberia today, they don't have no skills. And so I felt a rest program that Mr. Boakai promised. I thought that's supposed to be in a package that we need to train the young people or put more money into education. But I didn't see that. I didn't see anything like that. And I think it will get worse for Liberia and for our brothers and sisters in Liberia. So, and then I have a question for all of you, from Coach J. Ronnie and Cynthia and Arabic. You mentioned about Liberians, educated and experienced Liberians, contributing towards Liberia. But those are educated when they go back home. The government officials or the government, they don't want to really work with the people. Now, if you people were in Liberia what you put in place? How will you engage the people from outside of Liberia so that things can change for the better?
Oh wow. Manu, thank you so much. That's a good one. So then thank you. We will answer while you go, but I need to ask you. So
Uh-huh.
if there was something that you wanted to talk about, what would be your message to the Liberian people tonight? Take 30 seconds. What your message to the Liberian people before we answer you?
Okay, I will start with the show. So this topic is very important, and I do feel like people in like they are most of them are sleeping already, so they are not hearing the good things that people are talking. So the first thing I will talk about is you people can maybe just time a little bit so that people in that video can hear this good conversation. That would be nice.
Okay.
That's the first thing I want to touch on. Overall, nothing is working in Liberia. Honestly, nothing is working in Liberia, and I think the government needs to do more because all the promises they made during the campaign season, I have not seen anything working. I think they need to go back to the drawing board. I mean, if they don't know what to do, it's not still late. They need to get in contact with educated and experienced Liberians that are outside of the country. When I was small, when I was thinking about my grandma was saying, before you call me to help you watch your back, make sure you watch your stomach. They should do their homework. Then they call their Liberian brothers and sisters from all sides of Liberia to come and help. Other countries did it. Ghana did it. Rwanda did it. And they're succeeding today. So I think they need to buy a approach.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Manu. Manu, thank you. Thank you so much. So I'm gonna start with Brother Randy. Listen to the how you call it. What's your thought to him? What your thought about, and then I'm gonna go to Sishiyama really
Yeah,
quickly.
let me thank Monju for that question. I thought that was a very good question to ask. And I think what he's asking for is the entrance strategy. And like I often say, one of the reasons why many professional librarians go back home in the field is because of their entry strategy. There must be an entry strategy. If not, you will come back and empty-handed. In post-war Liberia, one of the things that we need to look at first is national unity. Our country is greatly divided at this time. So I will focus on national unity. And national unity, under national unity, is to bring back civic engagement, where we sit down to understand the need of everyone. But there is a catch to that. The population mindset is going to be the blocker to national unity. It's going to be the blockers to civic engagement. Why? There's an economic component to that. If every one of us here decide to go as a group and we choose a community to go engage ourselves, you're going to have people who will come in there and say, these people from America, they come here with an idea. And those people who will be speaking out like that, they are already on a population mindset. They are either politically attached or tribalistically attached. But then it feed into the politics. So what I see for now, Monju, constant communication, teaching our people. I think one of the strategies that I have is going to take a snail walk to the mailbox. One is to be on such a platform like this, but have access to the media in Liberia, where
We're
we can
working on that.
where we can utilize this conversation and look at activity happening in the country, their interaction, their daily activities, and begin to discuss. And then how do we measure our input from what we do is to have the line open up and ask them, for example, why your home getting burned? Every time home getting burned here and that. And let us get to hear from them and provide a solution. So that will be part of the civic engagement. As far as the reconciliation goes, we can also begin to look at our leaders and begin to see what they are doing to bring about national unity in the country rather than division. Look at the government, for example. You have two speakers in the house. These people are supposed to be uniting the country, but at the top, they are splitting themselves. How do we discuss that? We have to make sure that we put an empathetic approach to the situation. That these people, they are not thinking about you guys. You have your kids, you've seen other kids from other neighboring countries, they are doing extremely well. What will you do if you are in our shoe? And the way we bring that to is to go back to the civic education to be able to exploit the mindset, the population mindset, by looking at the constitution. If you are given the authority to run this thing, is that how you will run it? And how will you feel? So I think civic education, the population mindset, and then of course the strategy to enter the country, which will be supported by what I just listed for you guys. But it's going to take a long time because I think one of the blocker there is the population mindset. The people are politically divided today. When Paul Kagame came, let me say this before I rest. When Nelson Mandela took over, he had the opportunity to go for rescue, to rescue the disadvantaged South African. But he didn't take that approach. He went for redemption. He said redemption is the way that will unify the country. Redemption will bring about civic education. Redemption will erase the population mindset. So he brought in the TRC, not to prosecute people, but to bring people together. And today we're seeing the result. And with that mindset that was dissolved, South Africa, when ANC started, their educational rate was around 41%. That is the literate people. Today it's up to 98%.
98%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we take a page from that? Of course. Why when you in school you have to collaborate? Why when you are where you have to collaborate? We are African countries. We learn from each other. New Jersey can learn from Delaware. Delaware can learn from Maryland. That's why when you go to other states, say, oh, the city we got it down there. But like Coach said, we are so divided as Liberians that we are not willing to recognize. And I think what Moyu said, if we take the framework of redemption and begin to add all the missing components, I think we stand a chance to make a mark. But again, we must stand by what we say because sometimes politics has the way to divide us. Many people from abroad wear that wolf in sheep clothing. By the time they get there, the next thing they say, oh, my man, that is there. And that's why this, to me, it had to be a collective effort with commitment to what we need to do. So proper planning here, setting the agenda, committing ourselves to it. But at the same time, when we get on the ground, we must engage the people from a civic equilibrium. Let us give them the right to say, look, that's your idea. Let's try it and let's see how it works. Not to micromanage. That's how I see it. I could go more, but for the sake of time, say yeah.
Thank you, Brother Wendy. Let me go to Sis Yama and then and Coach, and I will let you guys handle it, and then we can close. But we're almost at the 10 o'clock mark. So Sis Yama, go ahead from the young man Moyu perspective. But I needed to highlight structure, process, redemption. Insert that into that while you answer him. And the program you're talking about was called, I think it was called DDR. Okay, and that program was seized for some reason. Yeah, DDRR. It was seized for some reason because they were supposed to do disarmament, demobilization, rehabilitation,
Rehabilitation.
and integration. And they were supposed to go after they turn in their guns. In fact, I used to have the video, but my page was hacked because I played that whole stuff on my page where the special envoy to Liberia, who was there, the Secretary of the United Nations, Jacques Klein, talked about the process leading to that. Yes, so, but I don't have that now. Now, I think you got to pay for it. But go ahead, Sejama.
Yes, okay. I just want to say, Mr. Moyu from Delaware, thank you for your call. Thank you for articulating yourself very well in this ridiculous plight of a nation that we find all of us a part of. So you were saying, I just want to tell you that we hear you and we heard you before you even spoke today. Since Yassini have committed on Thursday night to do it a little bit differently in 2025. That's what drew me into the table. That we will criticize, we will give historical knowledge, how we got here, and we would also do a call to action. And most of our call to action would love for it to be in the leadership positions, but we know that they don't want to do the right thing. So we will go back to the Constitution and highlight how the power is inherently in the people. So moving forward this year, every time I come to my closing, I try to give one or two call to action of our people in every district, depending on what topic. So that's the commitment that I have committed to. We talk about Zogos, no skills, no jobs for young people. You are absolutely right because now we're working diligently on damaging a second generation, right? It's like we are dying. The day we are born, we are dying.
Right.
It's called this in the healthcare field. We call it glycation. You know how when you put a chicken in the oven, and when you take it out, it's all golden brown and it's ready to eat. It's called glycation. So the white when we are born, our pupils are white. I mean, but the glycation process already started. What exaggerate and make that glycation process quicker? Hence, our lifespan is only 60 to 61 in Liberia. It's sugar. It's a lot of comorbids, a lot of disease process. And Liberia is infected with high cholesterol, sugar, different disease process. It makes that process of glycation even faster. And what make it worse, when we are a dying nation, at least you say, oh, in my 20s, I enjoy myself. In my 30s, but then when you become a man, in your 40, job or hard to find. What made this process in Liberia so bad for the last two generations? There's no decade. Forget about decade. There's no year we can even look at to say somebody enjoy the sunshine. I mean, just to enjoy the natural beauty because the place is so filthy. You can even have a brisk walk after dinner in Liberia and enjoy without people heckling you. So that's how bad it is when you cannot point to no year, decade, whatever generation on the second generation. But let's stick to the topic of war on drugs. You just charged us, Mr. Moyu. What are some of the recommendations? And I just said we have committed to always give recommendation at the end of every broadcast. So my recommendation for the war on drugs is an addictive, like Coach C said, it's very addictive. It erodes your mind, your frontal lobe, which is the judgment area, is eroded. You just wonder high. We need rehab. Um, First, before I demand what we need to look at the budget. How much, what percentage of the budget is earmarked to healthcare, drugs, and rehabilitation? So, people in our district, we need to ask how much we need the money. Even if they say, oh, we don't say $1-2 million in healthcare. No, it's in healthcare. Yes, that's the general, that's the topic. But let's break it down. How much for drug, how much for rehabilitation? And then housing. Where will you rehabilitate the people? You have to rehabilitate them somewhere. They say they don't have money. You don't need a fancy house. I will even give you a more cheaper house. When you go to Freeport, there are a lot of containers there that they don't even know where to stack those containers. Earmark a village or a landmark and put this village and make container homes. Google or go on YouTube and write container homes.
Yep.
Beautiful container homes. So we already, last at the Freeport man was saying too many containers, they don't know where to stack those containers. Stack it in the land with projects and house the circles. So I just show the government a cheaper way to get a rehab facility. And then now you said people don't have the expertise, but people that are psychologists and people that need those rehab counseling social worker, they can do it via ELBC, via StreamYard. You got the biggest network that have the ears of our people on the Spoon and Cup and Knife website. But the man sitting in his house, a felon? Really? Where are we going? I mean, all sides of this glycated kicking chicken is damaged. Pay people. We will stream some of our little 2x4 education we get. We will give you some. Well, I don't have to leave America. Don't tell me say come back home. I don't have to come back home to help. Let me let you guys know out there. I will come back home when I'm good and ready. I've already keen here in America. See, Coca reached the highest height. I got one more level to reach. And then I can go wherever I want to leave. Trust me. We're thinking about coming back home anyway. Based on the presidency we got here. Of course, we coming home. Trust me.
30 seconds, Sis Yama. 30 seconds.
Okay, so those are we coming.
Okay.
Let you know
I want
the
your
war
time,
that I
man.
start here. We coming
Yeah.
home. So don't tempt us. You don't even have to push. We will talk even louder this year because we have been told, and we are under new. And it's a new day where we live. And you are telling me you never come back home. You ain't no Liberian than me. I will come at home, I will
Thank
talk
you.
my home, and that will be it. So, addictive personality, we have to, the disease process is there. We need rehab facilities. I show you how you can tell your lawmaker to make it cheaper, how to get the education. We will stream yard and we will provide classes for them. And then, of course, you got to give them food and all that. So, ask the lawmaker how much in it. Then you don't have to see this or go. You don't have to see them. But guess what? There are 300,000 approximately part
Yeah,
of
that was
your population.
that was a year and a half ago. There were 300,000,
So they're
and they
probably
were
more. And
yeah they
so
were
course
in.
that not only the ones that don't have place to live, that living in
Oh
those in those
yeah,
downs, they got
yeah,
so
and
called even in leadership position. They're all
I
smoking that
heard
nonsense.
yeah, I heard they were increasing by like 700 per month. So I don't know, but
Yeah.
let's go to
So that's why I would
Coach
tell you
Q.
the caller
Coach
about
Q.
good call.
Thank you, Sis Yama.
Oh,
I mean, Coach Q. Go ahead.
yeah. So
And your church, yes.
so my suggestion. So there are a few things that needs to happen, and I'm going to disagree with Randy on one thing: that how quickly I believe it can happen. I believe it can happen quicker, and Randy and I have disagreed on this forever, and we probably will until we're able to prove it. That's what intellectualism is about, right? You have a premise and you try to prove it. I believe Liberia can be turned around quicker. And I say this because I have watched other people who are farther behind than we were: Singapore, Philippines, South Korea, um, those countries turn around within a few years. 80% unemployment, 80% a high illiteracy rate, um, no natural resources, okay, no real human capital, came out of imperialism, came out of being dominated by other people, no infrastructure. The countries that was helping them turning on them, and they were able to do it out of two ways. And I'm gonna come to what I believe we need to do. Um, this is where fascism came in, right? We do have a democracy, but they got a visionary who had a plan that says, Randy, you're going to take care of all the infrastructure that has to do with pipe-borne water. That's your expertise. You tell me what we need, and let's make it happen. They had a vision, they had a plan. They got experts to work on those plans. The vision started with the leader. All those people, even Kagame, look how quickly they turn around, right? All these countries I named, these are all post-World War II countries that got on their feet from nothing. Go look it up. These people were standing in food lines. They had no resources like we did. They didn't have the middle class we have that's already ready. That all Liberia needs to do is enable an environment and we will come back. to
Yeah,
work there. There are so many people who can. We have Starlink now. So many people could work online if they just create the enabling
the
environment
environment.
to come back home. So I think it can be turned around only because I've watched other people do it. Vietnam, that's a tiger state now. It's a tiger state. These people are still getting bombed till 1975. So, and they look like New York City. So I believe that it can be turned around, but I think it. Now I know it starts with a vision of the leader. And guys, the leadership matters.
And
I agree
integrity.
with I agree with Randy on 100% on something. The first step is unity. There has been no country that has been this united that has flourished. But where does the unity come from? You built the culture of unity by the people that people are like, the person they look up to. That person, that stuff has to be paramount to that person. He literally has to be the dad of the country, and he's got to want to be intentional about bringing the country together. And we don't have that. So the person we pick as a leader matters. Here's what I said: power. That's what we need to. This would be my suggestion. The power needs to go back in the hands of the people. Has to.
Yep.
The power got to go back to the hands of the people. And the way we do this, what I'm suggesting to you guys, is we need to have recall elections. I'm not going to stop saying this. We need to force a referendum where on the books you need to have a plan to sit in until these lawmakers put on the books where we can recall them and put the power back in the hands of the people. All these protests you guys are doing is worth nothing. What do you want? What we really want is we need to recall these elected officials. When you can fire the elected officials before their terms is up, it will change things. If we say 20% of the people who elected you can remove you before your 6 years, before your 9 years up, trust and believe they will start catering to the Liberian people first.
Yep.
If the
I believe that.
for the people, we're talking nonsense. The people need to control their own government. That's what democracy is. We do not have a democracy right now. We have an oligarchy. We have powerful people who are running things. We have a class of aristocrats who are running things. This is knowing how other countries work, knowing the history of other countries that came from nothing. It's not just talking just to talk. Other people have done it. Not one country, not two countries, not three countries, with the same social, political, and geographical climate as we do. And they were able to turn it around within 10 years. There's no reason why we can't do it. With a middle class, with a bunch of professionals, with everything. That's what we need. We need to put the power back in the hands of the people. 3 things that Liberia need: relief, recovery, reform. For whoever comes in, we first need to have a government that relieves the suffering of the people. The way you do that is you got to take care of people first. It got to be a people first country. We have to have Liberianism. The Lebanese, the Chinese, the Indians cannot run our economy. We got to put Liberians first. We got to take the money that's being wasted on these lawmakers and economically empower Liberians. Okay? We've got to recover. We got to build homes for people. We got to get them off the beaches. We got to do things, and we got to reform the system. We got to build systems. Guys, this is how every country did it at escape poverty. There was no other way it was done. There's no other way it was done. So, yeah.
Thank you, Peter. We are 10:13. Okay. Good conversation. We have 2 things still on the book. We will pick it up. We'll start back on after the sauna. All right. Great show tonight. But I'm gonna, and for those of you who tuned in tonight, thank you so much. Sis Rue, Palm Butter, Sis Miata. Let me see who all here. All of you that tune in, please share. I know some of you have already shared, but share for the last time on your page. A lot of people will come back to watch later. I want to add though, Peter, we are all looking from different vantage point. You are able to take young people who may not have you spark the talent, you beat it into their head, and they see what could be. Randy also is a planner who, from his field of, so that's a balance here. I think he also give his input as to how this can be done. I know when Randy said that it can hurt my heart, but sometimes maybe we need to look in the mirror. And I know when you say that, I'm like, yeah, maybe we can do this. Sometimes myself, I'm very discouraged because I'm like, and the higher I get in age, I'm almost 60. I've done this since I was 13. Since I was 13, I've been speaking. So just know some days I really don't want to get up. Like Sunday, I was doing my schoolwork. I just had this pain. I felt overwhelmed. I turned around to my husband and said, it seems like something is happening to me. I can't touch anything. I'm going to go to bed. Remember, Peter, when you called, I told you I could not, I had to go to bed. I have to go to bed because I needed to center myself. So the both of you, from your vantage point, you are right. If we play our cards right and we put things in perspective, it's possible. But if we go the way we are going, yesterday some of us were hopeful 6 years ago. Here we are. 12 years ago we were hopeful. Here we are. But to end for me tonight, and maybe each of you can take 30 seconds and close and record at night. Then one thing I wanted to leave all of us with. Okay. Then one thing I want to leave all of us with tonight. In my opinion, if you're gonna go ask somebody, if somebody say I'm coming to save you, we all have the responsibility to ask that person, how are you gonna save me? Where have you done it before? If you are swimming and you are drowning, somebody says you can go swim, you can depend on me, I'm gonna be your lifeguard. Do you know if that person can swim? That's the first thing that you must ask. But I wanted to come to what is training in Liberia. We are going into the rabbit hole. We tried to force the speaker to resign, and he had refused. First, we said we were taking him to room to visit. And while he was there, he was supposed to stay there and be overthrown. And he was smart enough to run back. That didn't happen. They had done everything to get him to move, and he has not moved. When you commit a crime, the people who are into crime sites, or who watch the first 48-hour and all of the special victim unit and all of that, they tell you there has to be opportunity, there have to be motive, then there have to be means. Okay. I particularly have traveled many times at night around the Capitol building. There are men there with assault weapons. The security is there with assault weapons to start targeting people. Okay, targeting people. Liberia is a small place. I think me and Brother Rennie had a conversation today. Everybody is literally related. We are at least 2 degrees of separation, at most 2 degrees of separation, whether we like it or not. Unless your family never left where you were born and it never traveled anywhere. But if they ever move, you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, and that's the connection. A small country. Before the war, we were around 1.5 million people. Today we're 5 million. We are all over the world. So I want to say to this government, Papi Boakai, you have failed us miserably. And the box starts with you because the people that are working, you hire them. They have not delivered. You are paying lawmakers $243,000 beside all the perks. Most of them are making millions. They are more wealthy nation in the world. I'm not talking about Switzerland and all of those places. I'm talking about United States because that's the only place you can be born anywhere you come and be anything you want to be. Okay. You pay them more than you pay the people, the lawmaker, with over 330 million people, 50 plus states to manage. Some Liberia can go in 2 and 3 times. Police officer don't make more than $150 a month. Most of them are walking and begging. There's no security in the nation.
And
The
laying on
first
taxi.
so I'm gonna stop here. So tonight, as we exit, Liberian people, listen, ask question. It's your responsibility.
Interactive.
It's your responsibility. If somebody tell you you are an eagle, but they tell you you can't fly because you've been hanging out with a bird, you have to try. Maybe you'll fall down 1 or 2 times. Eventually, you're gonna take flight. So to all of you tonight, Brandy, Coach Q, Sis Yama, I want to say thank for the night for those of you who hung out with us tonight. Thank you. I'm gonna wait if you want to take maybe 30 seconds each and say something, maybe leave a message for the people. That's your choice. Tonight we got so involved, we didn't get to say what we were thinking. So maybe next week we got to get to say what we're thinking. And if
Yeah.
we can, maybe if it's possible, Monday evening to just analyze what is happening wherever.
Analyze the summer, yeah. Or even Tuesday. Wait till Tuesday.
I'm going to stop here. So let's make 30-second round. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to
Okay.
listen. That's 30
I'm gonna
seconds.
make mine quick, very quick.
Okay.
So in my summation for tonight, um, I'm going to give 3 quick points. One on Randy's point that said unity, national unity is very paramount. So I agree with that. It is very important for the pulse of our nation. So my recommendation for national unity should start with the size of vision of our leaders, and also the weight of said vision, his or her integrity. So a
Mm,
call to action for our people in all 73 districts is vet our leaders well. Don't sell your vote. You can eat the money if you want to, but don't actually sell your vote. Don't get truck from district that you don't live in. So, but question the vision. And if that leader does not have integrity, have lie, and don't have nothing to his name, 2 cents to
4 seconds.
rub together,
Mhm.
don't vote for them.
Thank you.
Second point, somebody said collective effort.
Your time have ran out. One
Okay, wait,
minute.
wait, 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 wait. I'm going to steal from Coach Q. So the collective effort, I'll say this quickly. Save the date. We're working on something, or I'm working on something, or y'all might be call it initiative. Save the date, first weekend in August this year. Save the date. Okay? It will be worth your while. I'll stop there from now.
Thank you.
Third,
Yeah,
the last point is he says structure, process, then redemption. To create structure is change. To start with change is very, very difficult. But when you stay the course, ooh, baby, it's a sweet, sweet redemption. It's
thank you.
saving our soul and our generation.
Brother
Is it?
Randy, 30
Yes,
seconds.
yes, yeah. What I would say here is we all just here right now reminiscing about things. But one thing I would say, the mindset of the people is they block us to whatever we want to do. And it start with a comprehensive strategy that will address the systemic issue we have in the country. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf said that 2030 was going to be a middle class creation. From what we see
Mhm.
now, it's done.
Tell her girlfriend there.
We need to start a new vision by 2050. Now, for the next,
The two of you, I even touching it.
yes, because think about this. Say, yeah, I don't want to overrun my time. The people said that the Ellen and Boakai said by 2030 we will have a middle class. Where are we today? 5 years. Do you see middle class in our country now? Mathematics
Zero.
is nothing. So what
We
we're
didn't
going
even see first class there. We just see bunch of hands and rogues.
to do? So we need to start a new vision that we can mark for 2050. And in that, we have to set a clear vision for healthcare, infrastructure, education, and the environment, and have what I describe as a national planning committee that will evaluate. But the way to move forward, I am yet to find a political leader who will commit himself to that vision and a supporter who will commit himself to that vision. I will start there, but I think that's the way forward. Because the mindset of the people, you may take it for granted, but people often say, do not underestimate the stupidity of the people. Say, you might talk about this here. If you don't change the people's mind and they remain in our state, you can say whatever you want to say here. You will get a bigger surprise every year. We are trying for 19 years. 19 years in post-war Liberia. St. Eddie came to power. This is 19. We are in the 200 years now of post-war Liberia. And the thing is still escalating. It's still escalating. So how do we stop that bleed?
Save the date. Save the date. August 1st, 2nd, 3rd.
There are so many things that have been simple. But I don't know anything.
Thank you, Brother Randy. Let me go to Coach
Mind it. Mind it.
Refund, recover, recovery, and what is it? Relief, recover, and refund.
And refund. Relief,
Oh.
recovery, refund. I wrote that down.
So yeah, so again, I think that we have my pushback on that would be, what have we done differently, right? You talk about what Boakai says, what Ellen says. I think they are horrendous leaders. They are horrendous leaders. I don't think they understand leadership. I don't think they have the vision for it. I don't think they know how to create a culture of leadership. None of them do. Ellen was a warlord. Boakai is just empty-headed and selfish. That's for another day. I'll say that to his face. Anyway, here's what I want to close on. If anything goes, everything goes. That's what I want to close on. If anything goes, everything goes. Here's what I'm talking about. The chaos that you see in our legislature right now is when you don't respect the rule of law.
Yeah.
Those safeguards, those barriers that we have, the seatbelts, they're there for a reason, guys. This is not about politics. This is why we went to war. This is why we killed each other. We have to respect the rule of law. Whether we like the results or not, we have to follow what the Constitution says. We have to respect the rule of law, because if we don't, if anything goes where you try to overthrow a speaker or whatever, you need to hold these people accountable, because if anything goes, everything goes. So now
Start all over.
Yeah. Now, if you can break the law, then what's to stop someone else from breaking the law? If you can insult someone, what's to stop someone else to do? If anything goes, everything goes. So unless we can fix that, we're going no place fast. So I'll leave our people with, you got to hold people accountable, whether it's for you or not for you. If it's a rule of law, it's a rule of law. Let's respect the rule of law. Thank you.
All I need to go. All I need to go. Because those same lawmakers, they were sitting right there. They were sitting right there when they removed Tyler and Snow and Cabina Janet. Cabina Janet were removed when they see for natural sitting right there. Then now you won't call for international you won't call for international help. What was your international help request when they were removing Cabina Janet? All of them need to go. Besides Yaka Koluba.
I'm not gonna say anything, but we can
all
stay
72 of them need to
after this off. Okay.
all 72 need to go.